Hill of Arkansas. Thank you, Congressman, for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Sure, Kristen. Thank you.
Let me just have you respond to your colleague, Steny Hoyer, who says that it is up to the Republicans, the party who has control of both chambers of Congress and the White House, to reopen the government. Does he have a point?
Well, first, thanks for having me, and I have great respect for Steny Hoyer. He's an outstanding leader of the minority. And as you know, we passed all 12 appropriations bills in the House, and we passed a very straightforward 4-week continuing resolution that includes Democratic priorities, including the Children's Health Program that Leader Hoyer spoke about. That's pending in the Senate. So the House has done its work, and what we're waiting on now is Leader McConnell and Minority Leader Schumer in the Senate to reach agreement on what they would like to see so that we have time to work on a deal on our dreamers.
We just heard Steny Hoyer raise a potential way out, an off-ramp to this government shutdown. He said, let's pass a CR through Tuesday for 4 days that allows us to reopen the government and to continue negotiating. Would you support such a measure?
Well, as I said, we've passed a continuing resolution that goes out to a month.
But now you're at gridlock. But now you're at gridlock.
No.
Would you support a 4-day measure?
We're not in gridlock. The Senate was debating last night going to February 8th. We expect tonight to hear from the U.S. Senate what date they find acceptable. And if it's shorter than the date that we had in the House bill, I certainly would consider that. The issue is we need the Senate to help us in the House, having done our work, operate also in good faith.
Congressman, let me ask you about the president's leadership on all of this. We didn't hear from him today, with the exception of Twitter. He, I'm sure, had phone calls. We know that he had phone calls. He's been working the phones behind the scenes for several days now, but he didn't have any meetings at the White House. Has he shown the type of leadership that you would expect him to? He's the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal. That was his big argument for being president, to get a deal done.
Right. Well, I think he has demonstrated leadership with the Senate and House leadership and how to get not only a continuing resolution that works, but get a permanent deal on funding the government for FY18 and get an appropriate, equitable solution for the dreamers. I think he's done that and done it with leadership. Secondly, I do appreciate him directing the OMB and Director Mulvaney to make this shutdown as easy as possible on our American citizens and our constituents, and he's done that this week.
Congressman, were you surprised to see there were no meetings at the White House today? We know he did invite Chuck Schumer over to the White House yesterday, but then obviously that potential deal fell apart somewhere along the way. Should the president not have rolled up his sleeves today, gotten into the fight, and reopened the government?
Well, I think really what you've seen today is work all day long by our Senate colleagues, led by Senator McConnell and Senator Schumer, to meet the parameters that the president's laid out. That's what I think they're working on. I think he's given them the big picture of what he'd like to see, and I think they're trying to find a solution in the Senate.
One final point before I let you go. It's the 1-year anniversary, as you know, of the president's inauguration. And according to our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, the majority of Americans disapprove of his performance. And 38% of them, when asked, said which word describes him best. They used the word disgusted. Are you concerned, Congressman, that this could be a drag on the Republican Party in the midterms?
Well, what I'm concerned about is that we have fewer tweets and that we have more legislation and more work to keep moving our economy forward. That's what I think we've gotten done in the past 12 months. The first year of the Trump administration is a good start on getting the economy growing and more jobs and more opportunity, both through the tax bill that was passed in the Congress as well as the work on regulation. But I agree, we need less rhetoric and more work together, and that's what we're going to do in 2018.
Congressman Hill, I know it's an incredibly busy day for you, so I really appreciate your taking time to talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.